Are you chairing this one?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Okay, good. Thank you. What are we doing?
I have no idea. Oh, you changed it. Yeah. So I can get that out. I still have Good morning. Welcome to today's service, and welcome to those of you watching on YouTube. My name is Larry Honda, and I'll be chairing today's service. Reminders, like always, of course, cell phone should be silent or off, and of course, there's no food or drinks in the Hondo. So we'll begin today's service with Sambujo, which again is on page 24 in the large service book. And then we'll be chanting Sutra Junirai, which is on page 20 in the small Dharma service book, and page 67 if you're using the larger service book. The page numbers for the Sutra book will be displayed on the front screen and on your monitors at home, so please follow along. Okay, would you please all rise to sing the Gatha, I'm a Link in the Golden Chain, which is the third song in the yellow handout. And then please remain standing for the three treasures, which is on page 3 in the small Dharma service book.
I'm a link in the golden chain. Harmony may we all attain. Gentle to all living things will unite us all as golden rings. I'm a link in the golden chain. Gratitude may we all attain. Bright and strong my link will grow through pure and loving things I know. Pure and beautiful thoughts I will think, and pure and beautiful words I will say, and pure and beautiful deeds I will do for the world and for you. Spreading kindness and love every day to all living things that come our way. Amida's chain of love is bright. Through peace and love we will see the light. Will you please join now in the reading of the three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of thy doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Please be seated.
And now we'll have a Dharma talk from Rinban Sakamoto.
Good morning. Welcome to this morning's service, and those of you who are joining us online, good morning and welcome to you. It's summer. Obon is just around the corner. We were preparing for this annual event, and preparations have been going on for the past several months, and everything is in order, ready to go. And we'll have a big Obon again this year. The Obon festival has become such a part of Japantown activities that sometimes we forget that actually the Obon is a religious practice that is a part of our Buddhist tradition. We've been trying to kind of return some of that focus or that connection between the Obon, even the Obon festival is connected to the temple. That we actually, the Betsuin hosts the Obon festival. Many of you have been involved in the preparation and of the Obon festival for many years. But as you might know, there are no outside vendors in our Obon. A lot of times these large street festivals have vendors that are coming in from different places. And we're often asked, can we have a booth at your Obon? And it's such a huge gathering of people. But we've managed to present this Obon festival as a part of the responsibility or activities of the Betsuin. Sometimes we have large crowds increasingly nowadays, but there are times when crowds have been very small, and it's always hard to predict the size of the crowd, the number of people that will be attending. And so the amount of preparation, the food preparation is always kind of iffy. It really depends on the weather. If it's too hot, people won't come out. If it's too cold, people won't come out, but it has to be just right. My understanding, I've been told that the beer temperature is 82 degrees. It's perfect. Then people feel like they can have beer. So hopefully, we've been doing this for such a long time that these, as fine a detail as that is, it's a part of the thinking of the preparations for, or the concerns for the Obon festival. But it is, something that comes from our temple. Is based upon the story of Moggallana and his work to release his mother from the realm of hungry ghosts, from the pretas. And having done that, he dances in joy to celebrate the life of his mother. And Buddhism comes into Japan kind of interesting. I always thought that we had sent teachers to either China or Korea, and they brought back those teachings to Japan because it was such a wonderful tradition that these various schools of Buddhism were brought to Japan and introduced to Japan in that way. But it's really much more kind of everyday than that kind of inspiration to go and bring back the teachings. It was through a cultural exchange, that Buddhism gets introduced. At the time of its introduction, and Buddhism had actually been in Japan. Immigrants brought the traditions with them, much like Japanese coming from, bringing with them their traditions at the turn of the last century. That is the origins of our Jodo Shinshu and Buddhist Churches of America, bringing Buddhism to San Francisco at the request of people living, not having, beginning to establish their families here in the United States, and requesting that to be brought teachers to be brought here, and then establishing these temples, many temples, and eventually the North American Buddhist Association, and then eventually the Buddhist Churches of America. That North America, what was it called? North America Buddhist group became Buddhist Churches of America. But with the introduction of Buddhism to Japan, it's in this cultural exchange. At the time, there were two kingdoms on the Korean peninsula, and Pakche was at the end of that peninsula, and Silla was a kingdom that was between Pakche and China. And Pakche was concerned that Silla was intending to overrun Pakche and had begun conversations with China. And so Pakche decided that it would tried to establish a relationship with Japan, tried to bring Japan in as an ally in this struggle between Pokche and Silla. And in that conversation that Pokche was having with Japan, as a part of their kind of gift to Japan, was the sutras. So Buddhism is brought into Japan, again, not because it was thought of as a wonderful tradition, but simply as a cultural exchange. Buddhism sutras teachings were presented to Japan as a part of this cultural exchange. The initial, after the initial introduction of Buddhism, there were some calamities, and people, the aristocracy, some of the aristocracy was concerned about this new tradition being brought in officially into Japan. And so it was rejected, initially rejected. But then again, it was reintroduced, and Shotoku Taishi, along with his friend Sogano Umako, were assigned really to become Buddhists. So we may not know as much about Sogano Umako, but Shotoku Taishi we know because of his portrait here in Donaijin. And those of you who are familiar with Japanese currency, Shotoku Taishi's portrait is on, I keep forgetting which building his portrait is on. Might be the Sen, I don't know. It might be the Ichiman-yen, one of those. But the influence of Shotoku is still very important in Japanese history and Japanese culture. We can see that again by this very contemporary, modern monetary recognition of Shotoku as an important figure in Japanese history, that his portrait is on that bill. But Shotoku was a prince regent in the time of Empress Sumako, and he was assigned to take on this new religious tradition that was being brought from Korea. And because the Soga family was in part responsible for immigrant population, Soga no Umako was asked to work with Shotoku Taishi. So it's not that Buddhism is adopted into an aristocracy because of the recognizing the importance of Buddhism, but it's really just an assignment given to one of the princes at the time, Prince Shotoku. But to his credit, Shotoku studies. He accepts the religions, the religious doctrines, studies them, and at one point he creates this 17 article sort of constitution for Japan. It states the purposes that the people of Japan and its aristocracy should abide by. And in this 17-point article, 17 article constitution, Shotoku includes Buddhist ideas in that, and that kind of sets the tone for the development of government in Japan for a very long time. And again, that's why Shotoku continues to be an important figure in Japanese history and culture. He builds several temples. He establishes repositories for sutras. And over time, Buddhism becomes an important part of Japanese culture. Before Buddhism, often we confuse or conflate these two, but prior to Buddhism's introduction, formal introduction, and this is that formal introduction, it's the aristocracy that becomes involved with the development of Buddhism in Japan. Prior to that, for many centuries, Shinto was the primary religious practice. The emperors were descendants of the Shinto gods, and it was quite a shift as Buddhism is introduced. Shift because prior to, again, the introduction of Buddhism into the aristocracy, Shinto is the primary tradition in Japan. And the emperors are all descendants within that Shinto tradition. But these are two separate, very distinct religious traditions. Shinto is very animistic. It has spirits and that in everything, in a sense that everything has a spirit, everything has life, everything is important and valued. And that had been a part of Japanese culture for a very long time. But with the introduction of Buddhism, it doesn't become a conflict between these two traditions, but over the centuries, there have been many kind of overlap between Buddhism and Shinto. Often in homes, you might have an obutsudan and a kamidana, a Shinto shrine. In restaurants, you'll see often the kamidana in a restaurant, but not see a butsudan necessarily. But these two traditions have, since the 7th century, have been a growing integral part. Buddhism has become an influential way of understanding the world and who we are as human beings, and has become an important part and contributor to Japanese history and culture. But these two have worked hand in hand, over the centuries. When the emperor decides that Nara was the ancient capital, and they decided to move to Heianjo, so move the capital from Nara to Heian, which is where Kyoto is now, and the imperial household settled. They went to another place first, and then eventually ended up in what is now Kyoto. And all of the traditions were brought. And one of the reasons that they decided to move was because of the influences that the 6 Buddhist traditions of that time, the influence that the over influence of these traditions on the imperial household, that they decided to move. So they took the seat of the imperial household and eventually settled in what is now Kyoto. But in that process, they also established a monastery. Kyoto is kind of like a valley, and on the hill, on the west side of Kyoto, west from Kyoto, monastery was built as a guardian for the imperial household that was settling in Kyoto. But that monastery that was built was a Tendai Buddhist tradition, and that monastery is Hieizan, became the central place of Buddhist studies, and for centuries now, Hieizan has been the repository, practice place for Buddhism in Japan. And since then, of course, there have been many other Buddhist traditions that have come out of Hieizan. Of course, Shinran, we know, went up to Hieizan when he was very young. Honen also spent time on Hieizan. These are the places. This Hieizan is not just one single building, but many different areas on Heizan that are focused on different practices. And so people going up into Heizan would practice different things. Tendai Buddhism, which is the primary tradition of Heizan, is a tradition that is kind of encyclopedic in its approach to Buddhism. Many, many different kinds of things that come under the umbrella of Tendai Buddhism. And Honen and Shinran were students at Heizan. But Buddhism, again, is introduced, has this very kind of a uncertain or uncentral kind of introduction into Japan, but it begins to establish itself within the aristocracy and becomes established within the culture as a whole. The practices that we observe today, come from that. The practices that were established very early, that have developed over time, and that continue to be observed in Japan, and practices in Japan as well as outside of Japan today. And one of the practices is this obon. Obon is unique to Japan, originally unique to Japan. The celebration of remembering those who have lived before us, how much our lives are the result of these individuals that contribute to our existence, to be reminded of that and to express our gratitude for what we are able to receive because of them. And this story of Moggallana celebrating the release of his mother from the hell of hungry ghosts is a kind of encapsulation of what we experience during Obon. But you have to kind of look around and pay attention. That is a Buddhist, not a practice, but it comes from our Buddhist traditions. And so, the chochings that are hung above us, and with the names of family members written on these labels that hang from the choching, it's a reminder of their lives and how their lives continue to be a part of our lives. It's pretty, but it also is a reminder of that, and goes back again to the story of Moggallana and the release of Moggallana's mother from the realm of hungry ghosts. This time of the year, many temples are experiencing or organizing their Obon festivals. This was several years ago when it was a part of, I think, either the junior choir trip to Japan or it was another trip that our family found ourselves in the government building in Tokyo. And at the top floor, which is a very tall building, large building, we were able to look down at the city. And in a small park, just at the base of this municipal building, we saw lanterns. We thought, that looks like Obon. And so we spent some time up in the observatory. Then we went downstairs and went across the street and went over to where what we thought was Obon. And sure enough, it was an Obon festival that was going on. And there was a Yaguda, an actual Yaguda, which is a tower, originally a tower. And the singers are up in the top of the tower where they're playing music and singing. In this case, there was a tower and then a kind of a stage built around that Yaguda where a shamisen player was playing. And people were dancing around. And it wasn't anywhere near the size of our obon, but maybe several hundred people were there. And there were food booths that surrounded the dance area, and people were going. And there was a yakisoba booth, and so we decided to get yakisoba. And while we were talking with the people that were there, I said, "What temple sponsors this obon odori?" And they said, "No, it's a Girl Scout troop that was sponsoring the obon odori." And so it has become kind of a cultural practice. That over time, we may forget what the religious origins are unless we continue to remind ourselves that we gather together to be mindful of the lives that have been lived before us and how our lives are the result of these other lives. And gratefully, we come together thinking and sharing in our memories and experiences of the importance of the lives that have been lived before us. That who we are the result of these other lives. Mokuren, as he gathers his friends together and celebrate his mother's release from the Preta, the realm of hungry ghosts, and they dance in joy for her release, reminding themselves of this importance of the lives that have come before us, and that we should be mindful of the continued relationship that we have with these lives. In a couple of weeks, we will have this massive event take place just outside the doors of the Hondo. And hopefully, it won't simply be another community activity, but an activity that reminds us of the roots of that obon story that is clearly or importantly grounded in the teachings of the Buddha. They remind us of the importance of the relationships we share with the world around us. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I was reminded that I do that all the time. I say, okay, when I finish. And I was reminded at Odori, because they're doing a song and a Arigato Nimmo Sakamoto Odori. And one of the things that they do in that, they said, okay. So it'll be interesting to participate in that. Okay, thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Rinban. Yes, for those of you who have been attending dance practice, the new dance this year is Arigato. We've done a version of that before, and Reiko Iwanaga changed a couple steps. So one of the steps is it's done with an uchiwa, and the original version we held the fan normal direction, and this time we're flipping it around where the stem is forward to honor Rinban since he plays shakuhachi. So we're pretending we're playing shakuhachi. And then, yes, as he's mentioned, there's one part near the end of the verse where we say, okay. Yeah, interesting way to honor you, Sensei. So, oh well, anyway. So would you all please rise for the Gatha Ondoksan 2, which is on page 76 in the small service book.
Me 知識の温度不も骨を砕きてもシャンスべしナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏 Thank you. Please be seated.
Thank you to Rinban Sakamoto, Reverend Michael Jones, our organist today, Elaine Jones, and our tech is Brandon Uenaka. Are there any announcements?
I think the secret's going to come out. So a couple of things. Number one is with the Obon, we're going to have our Minanomura booth, the Village for Everyone booth that we share with the Billy DeFrank Center and South Bay Queer and Asian. So we are going to look for help for that from between 12 and 6 on both Saturday and Sunday. Probably a couple of people for each hour, whether you want to stay a couple hours or so on. So I'll put a sign-up sheet out available to everybody online so you can sign up, but we'd like to have your help there. There's not a lot to be done there. It's just more of answering questions and directing folks and so on. So, but we'd appreciate the help out there. And there's lots of company in the booth because Billy DeFrank Center and SPQA brings a large group with them, and they're always fun to be around. The other thing is you may or may not know that Sumi Tanabe retired as a minister's assistant a couple of weeks ago, and so even more now we need minister's assistants. And this can be just about any age, really from teen and up. You get to learn more about how the onaijin is put together. There are duties that are manual labor around, like sweeping up and so on, so there's work involved. But you also learn more about Jodo Shinshu and get trained in some of the things that happen behind the scenes. So we could use the help. We'd appreciate having it. If you're interested, please see me or see Rinban. But let us know if you're interested and we can talk to you more about it. Thank you.
Next week, the 7th, no, excuse me, the 8th, our regular service is at 10 o'clock. And Reverend Jones will be the speaker, I believe. And then the following weekend, of course, is our Obon festival on the 12th and 13th. So a lot of work, a lot of help. If you can, I would be appreciated. Then on the 19th and 20th, the 19th is our Hatsubon service. So if you have had a family death in the past year, the Hatsubon service, if you would like to attend the Hatsubon service, that'll be on Saturday. It's the first Obon for a family who has experienced a death in this past year. You'll most likely receive a letter notifying you of the Hatsubon service. And if you do receive that letter, please plan to attend. That'll be 5 o'clock on Saturday, the 19th. On the 20th, it's going to be another busy day for the Obon service. We have a guest speaker, Reverend Michael Endo, who is the assistant to the bishop, will be our speaker for that morning. Japanese language will be at 9:30, and then following immediately with the English Obon service. At 9 o'clock, we're going to try to have a kieshiki, a brief kieshiki service for those who are unable to attend the kieshiki service at Gotanye. And so we'll be set up here. Bishop Harada will be remote, and there may be other people who are remote, but that'll be at 9 o'clock. So if you're part of that group, 4 people, please plan to be here for that kieshiki. So a lot going on that morning, the kieshiki service, Japanese language service at 9:30, and the 10 o'clock service with Reverend Michael Endo as our guest speaker for that morning.
He's also doing the Japanese language service.
Yes, and he is also doing the Japanese language service. Thank you.
And next Sunday is the 6th, not the 8th.
Oh, who changed that?
I did because it's my birthday. So I don't usually celebrate on the 8th. So. And as been mentioned many times now, we have Obon in 2 weeks. So preemptive thank you to all of you who are volunteering to help out. As I think Rinban mentioned last week, we have around 1,600 volunteers, many of you who put in multiple shifts. So thank you ahead of time for those of you who have already signed up and who have been doing this for many, many years. For those of you who haven't signed up and wish to, we have a volunteer sign up, I think, through our website. If not, you can contact the office and they can get you in connection with that. We have volunteers that, obviously we have volunteers who are members of the temple, but we also have many people who volunteer who are not members of the temple. And so if that includes one of you, please help out. And when you do, remember this is Obon has several meanings, but one is a festival of joy. So please go around with a smile on your face and have a good time, even if you're helping out. Anything else? Nope. Are you doing closing gasho?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. John Gasho, please. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you, everyone.
I forgot one thing.
Oh.
Sorry. Is there anyone new to our service today that, no? Yes? I don't know if you'd like to. Well, welcome. Would you care to stand up and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Ariel. I'm not exactly local. I'm up in Pacifica, but I'm here with my grandma today, Rachel. But thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. Anyone else? Great. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, Phyllis is coming.
Oh, and for those of you coming to the service next week, the parking lots are going to be closed on both sides. Yeah, and Obon prep, right? Game booths are going to be set up, food booths are going to be set up. So you're going to have to park farther away. It might be a whole block. So, okay, thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Please come forward for Oshoko.
So, where's the turn-off switch on this? Oh, there is no one. I thought there used to be one.
Sorry, I meant the chair. Oh, I thought I was going to be a chair.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't very proud.
I was all confused.
Hi, Amy.
Down south? Oh, yeah. Hawaii. Going down south.
Hello. Hello.
I really like the story today. Yeah, I grew up near Kamakura,